I think Seema, domestic violence or violence against women, I think that would be a better, issue to discuss about. I think it dates back to since the existence of humanity on the earth. I mean, even if I think of, Mahabharata or Ramayana, I'm sure we all remember how Draupadi was, outraged in the social setup by one of her family member, and all her family, friends, relatives, guru, all were present. And she was kind of, disrobed in front of everybody. Unfortunately, we had Lord Krishna to save her at that time. But I don't know what is the situation now. I think similarly, I think in Ramayana, we saw Sita was airlifted by Ravan. So that's again something like, violence against women, disrespecting her rights as a human being. So I think this is something that we have seen all through the human, existence. But yes, I fully agree with you. The domestic violence has increased many fold this time. But I was just going through the statistics and I realized that actually domestic violence tops the category of violence against women. Even in the 2018 survey, 89,097 cases were registered for domestic violence in 2018. I'm talking about, so which is not very far. It was around 2 years ago. That clearly indicates that the violence against women is increasing. I also have a feeling it's not about increasing violence. I think now more people are coming out and reporting. I think we have to see the picture from both the sides, that it is not the incidence has increased. Probably now people are aware that they have to report the violence, because it cannot be curbed just by, quietly tolerating it or not, kind of taking an action to deal with it. And I also saw that crime against women, if we go by the, prevalence rate, it is 58.8 women per lakh experience violence against them. It could be domestic, mostly it is domestic violence that we are talking about. And in the list, UP tops the list, followed by Maharashtra, West Bengal, and Madhya Pradesh. So this was my understanding of, how the violence actually is, existing in our country, especially pertaining to women. And WHO has says that 1 in every 3 women in the age group of 15 to 49 have experienced physical and sexual violence against them. So that comes to almost 30% of women. It's quite a huge number if even we go by the international figures. And National Crime Report Bureau 2018 again reported, I mean, these statistics that I'm sharing with you are quite disturbing. It says every 1.7 minutes there's a crime against women. Every 16 minutes there's a rape. Then every 4.4 minutes, a girl is subjected to domestic violence. So while we are talking, I think every 5 minutes, a person, a woman or a girl is being, subjected to domestic violence. So I think these figures are quite disturbing, and, that needs to be addressed. And we really need to understand how do we, go about handling it. So in a way, 30% of all the women in the age group of 15 to 50 have experienced physical or sexual abuse. And I won't say the word interestingly, but surprisingly, 83% of the perpetrator are husbands, whereas 56% are mother-in-law, 33% are father-in-law, and 27% are the sibling of the husband. So again, I mean, it's not just one person, but it is the whole family somehow gets involved into this kind of, situation or violence I can talk about.
Definitely very nicely put by you that there are sociological roots, and more than cases happening, there are more reports of these cases happening. So which is, a step forward in awareness that people are addressing that this is wrong and it should be stopped. So taking from here, I think so Radhika has the next question of how the journey continues.
Yeah. So, ma'am, as you rightly said, because people have started coming out and talking about it, But would you be aware of any other sociological timelines that we have faced? Like some differences that have happened in the statistics that we can see, or maybe let's say a particular state. You said that UP has got the highest number of
Right, yeah. Mm,
domestic violence cases.
mm.
So is there a particular reason for that, or what do you think? Why are such stagnated statistics present in our country, especially?
See, if I just try to look at it, the sociological and psychological aspect, I think one, uh, illiteracy is one of the reasons. When we are not aware of, our rights and how we are supposed to exercise our rights. That
Right.
is one thing. Then second is, I think, the social conditioning of women and men both. Men sometimes are conditioned that they can, raise hand, and women sometimes, accept it as their destiny, or probably that is all right. Just few
Right.
days ago, I had a, client, a lady client, and she said that, I mean, it's been almost 10 years and he does it quite regularly. I said, you never objected to it? She said, I thought that, yeah, that's how the men are. I mean, so just imagine, this is an educated professional woman I was talking about. What about
Right.
a
Right.
woman in the rural areas, or not, very educated, or very economically very good? So
Definitely. I think that's completely right. The literacy definitely plays a role, coming from which background we're coming from, what is our mindset, what values we're growing up with. All of these, I think, definitely will have an impact on whether we stand up to it or not, or, how men behave in certain manners. So I think next question Seema wants to ask.
Yes, ma'am. So as we started that lockdown period, may there have been a rise in cases,
hmm.
and also ये क्यों हो रहा है, why is this rise happening, and हमें family और जो bystanders होते हैं, क्या उनका कुछ role होता है domestic violence? Is there any way they can support or be helpful?
Hmm. I think before we start discussing about just lockdown period, we got to understand what are the reasons behind it. Why do, violence gets, why it happens against women? So I think one of the reason is that anger, as such, I think, is on the rise. Anger and aggression as such is in rise. You can
Yes.
see it across the society. A lot of, aggressive reactions we get to see over very small trivial issues, not only against women or at home, even in the workplace or out on the road. So that means anger is becoming a big problem. Then frustration, intolerance is another issue which we feel. And all these things, they basically require some training, some teaching, some education in terms of handling anger, because anger is a very natural emotion. All of us
Right.
do experience anger, but then how do you tame it? How do you regulate it? How do you express it? That is something that comes with training. I don't know how many of us are really making an effort to teach our kids and people around us about anger management, or how do you then, as you said, social conditioning is another thing, as the beliefs that we have. Like, if the
Yeah.
man has the belief that I can do it and it's all right, I've seen women also believing, if she has seen her father, raising hand on her mother, so for her, probably it's all
Mhm.
right, because that she has seen in her childhood. Or maybe she didn't like it, but she didn't know how to handle, because she hasn't seen her mother taking any appropriate corrective action. So for her, that becomes like more like her destiny. Even if she doesn't like or she disapproves it, she's not sure how do you really handle all that. So somewhere, I think there are a number of issues. As I said, anger is a problem, aggression, frustration, intolerance is a problem. There can be adjustment issues between husband and wife. That can be a reason. Personality types of both the husband and wife could be, very conflicting. If both of them are, argumentative or aggressive in nature, or has anger issue, then the chances of violence are going to be more in the fight. Why men are able to, become more aggressive is probably maybe the physical power they have, or the conditioning that they have, where they are used to hitting and fighting. So that could be one of the this thing. And usually at times it is displaced anger also. When you are unhappy with the outside world, we are not able to amicably deal with our maybe workplace or other social relationship. So probably somewhere, you know, a woman or the wife becomes a soft target for the same. And there's a possibility that she might, you know, become the victim of the displaced anger in that case.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as you said, all these factors are, again, making the lockdown period more stressful. There is more anger. There is not a good way of displacing this anger. And
Yeah.
again, the understanding that we have about such behavior is not clear for everybody. Some people accept it that it's okay. Some people don't know that it should be reported. And as you rightly put, these can be factors that can elevate more cases in domestic violence. Definitely.
See, lockdown periods has definitely aggravated the situation. Clear reason is that everybody is at home. ना? Because there's nowhere to go. कहीं जाना तो है ही नहीं, रहना ही घर पर है. So what happens? You are at home, you are together, you are living together, you are, and not only in India, let me tell you, the increase in the violence against women is reported in countries like US, China, UK, Greece, Italy, Brazil, clearly indicating that such stressful periods are definitely going to change the way we handle, situations, difficult situations. So I think in most of the countries, the problem is all of us are at home. People are, frustrated with the situation because they are not able to go out. There is a lot of raised anxiety among people because maybe some will be losing jobs, some have already lost job. So there can be economic stress, there can be health issues, there will be, and as a result, what happens, there will be argument even over small petty issues between. And there are places when people are even short of space. I mean, there are 2, 3, 4 members living in 1 or 2 room set. So they have nowhere to go and they have to share the same space, so that itself can aggravate. Also, the household responsibilities, I think, become a very challenging issue. If the family does not agree to divide the work, so ultimately it will be just on one person to do everything. So it can become a very, frustrating for anybody, be it, and mostly it is women. I think in our culture, it's mostly women. So it's going to be very disturbing for her, and there can be frustration and anger initiated from her side also.
Right. So, that being said, we can move forward with our next question.
Ma'am, I just wanted to know, are there different types of abuse that people, women can face? Are there different ways that, is it just physical abuse, or are there even more different ways in which, we can feel, let's say, locked up or criticized upon, abused again? So are there different ways in which that can happen?
See, physical abuse is visible, but then there's a lot of emotional and psychological abuse.
Right.
See, when your emotional needs are not acknowledged,
yeah,
or they are not respected, or they are not even entertained, so that can be a big setback or a issue of frustration for a woman. At the same time, being too sarcastic or using foul language against each other, or nagging each other, or creating fuss over small things, that itself can also be a reason for, argument between them, or aggression between them, and violence also.
Right. As you rightly said, ma'am, I think psychological impacts and emotional impacts can really have a difference. Yeah. And I saw the statistics that financial abuse is also one area where women really, have to face it. Where, let's say, the man of the family or the person who controls all the finances takes care and doesn't give them money for their own personal use and things like that. So, have you ever come across a case like that or something?
See, there are a lot of cases. For example, when the woman is not earning, so she's completely dependent for all her financial needs on her husband or on her in-laws. So
Right.
many a times, they just exploit this situation and do not fulfill her financial need because they feel this is one way they can nag her. So I have had cases, and it's not just about the lower social economic strata we are talking about. Even in the middle class, I've seen cases where the husband or the in-laws would not give her enough money or even pocket money to fulfill her need. I've also had cases where the woman is working, she's earning, but all her money matters are managed by her husband or her in-laws. So she has to take, kind of pocket money after, although the money would come to her account in many cases, but still she would either have a joint account with her husband, or she's not allowed to, take out money without her husband's permission. So there she again becomes kind of dependent on her husband for the financial requirements.
Right. Definitely. Such a just hearing about these things, gives such goosebumps to us that there are so many ways in which all of us are suffering, and we just we don't have a way out of it currently.
But I
So I think
think
Seema comes the
I,
next question. Right.
Rajika, but I feel millennials are going to be different.
We
The
hope so.
kind, because the kind of cases now I'm getting, I think uh, girls now are not ready to accept this inequality.
Right.
They are literally revolting, although I do not approve of this, because again, that's going to create an imbalance and unhappiness in the married life. But at the same time, if things are changing, then I think society as a whole need to acknowledge these changes, and they need to come up with some, workable solutions where ultimately everybody is happy. So you'll have to,
Definitely.
but millennials are not going to tolerate this inequality. What I see from the because I am into a lot of couple therapy, so when they come to me and the issues they pick up, it clearly shows that what as Bahu, what we accepted as a norm is no more acceptable to the girls today.
Definitely. Definitely. So I think so that is very nicely said by you कि physically ही नहीं abuse होता है, emotionally, financially, psychologically कि हम women get abused in India.
Yeah.
So again, a very good question that is going on in everybody's mind is कि lockdown में इतनी problems है, lockdown हट जाएगा तो क्या होगा? What is going to happen about this issue जब lockdown हट जाएगा? क्या we are expecting कि cases कम हो जाएंगे? या what do you think, ma'am, is going to be uh, seen afterwards?
See, considering that since we are all in lockdown now, so maybe people even who are unhappy in the married life, or there are disputes, or there's a violence against women, so maybe they are not taking any action. But considering the trend, you don't know, tomorrow it might actually, lead into a lot of more legal proceedings against each other, or action against each other. And also, if the lockdown continues for some more time, the triggers are going to increase. Like financial burden is going to increase, emotional issues are going to be, increase, even health issues are going to get disturbed. So all that is likely to, aggravate the situation. So, but at the same time, if we all start working towards it, I'm glad that you picked up this topic. And I'm sure a lot of people must be watching this program, and they get to realize that we need to work on it. Every problem needs to be addressed. We need to work towards it, and we can turn the tables. We can change the situation. But if I just keep sitting and waiting that something would happen or some miracle would happen, then I think that's not going to happen. Then things are really, really going to worsen. So we really need to very proactively, work on it. Work on it. Yeah.
Right. Definitely. Again, ma'am, हम अगर इसके towards काम करेंगे, then as you said, millennials are possibly gonna bring a change. We hope so. We are trying our best. This doesn't continue with our generation and other generations coming up. You people have worked so hard to bring this awareness, and we just have to, carry the legacy forward. And we just hope we continue doing that task nicely. And Yeah, Radhika, what do you like to ask ma'am about more about domestic violence and
So all of
mental
us
health?
can hope that we will be able to make a difference. So I think one of the reasons why we did this webinar is to maybe, give some guidelines, some tips, some ways in which women who are actually facing, any form of abuse currently with the whole lockdown situation or otherwise, what can they do? If there is any guideline we can give them, any tips, any, advisory, yeah, follow this, maybe that will help. So if you could share some light, some tips that, would help.
I was going through a literature, and I came across this study by a Indian lawyer at Harvard, and it is validated by a number of other studies also. See, usually when there's a violence, we normally say you should report, call police. I know this is a very usual,
Right.
immediate, advice we give or the solution we give. But studies have shown legal action just aggravates the situation. It does not resolve. It does not resolve. So if you take legal action, one, you will be staying back with the same person in the same house, and all the time police cannot be around you to protect you. I have had cases where it was, the husband used to, raise hand on wife. They called police. They got him even jailed for 1 or 2 days. But then ultimately,
Right.
the moment he got a chance to run away, he left her and he never came back. Because then it becomes more like a revenge from each other. So, and also, if you involve police and take action, I'm not saying not to take it, but I'm just, in the beginning, I'm making a mention of this because usually this is the first advice we give कि ठीक है यार, अगर कोई मार रहा है तो पुलिस बुलाओ ना, legal action लो, खत्म करो. But legal action is not the solution. Cases, studies have shown that if you jump to legal action, usually it ends up into aggravation of situation, or there will be other issues into it. Second is, when you involve your parents. I think what I understanding I get is, suppose if you involve your parents, then in case if their approach is aggressive, that's going to further aggravate. So somewhere, even that conditioning has to be changed, where we normally tell to our daughters, कि बेटा तेरी डोली इस घर से जा रही है and तेरी लाश ही वहां से आनी चाहिए. I think that's a very wrong advice that we give to our daughters. But at the same time, हमें ये भी नहीं कहना अपनी बेटियों को कि बेटा तू जा, जो कुछ होगा हम संभाल लेंगे. So these are two extremes, not advisable.
Right.
Not advisable. I think as parents, we have to help both girl and the boy to understand that that is not the way of life and it is not acceptable. So when it comes to physical violence, I think both the girl's parents and the boy's parents should be on the same page. They both should discourage physical violence for multiple reasons. One, when the violence would become extremely dangerous, you don't know, because in the fit of rage anything can happen. I've seen cases where husbands have killed their wife on a trivial issue. I'm sure you also must have heard of that case where husband had planned a vacation, just a weekend vacation, kind of weekend getaway. He booked a 5-star hotel and he took his wife there, and there they had an argument, and then he became very aggressive and he killed her. And we have number of stories. I think if you will look into media, you'll get to see a lot of cases. So what I'm trying to say here, as parents, even if I am mother to a son, or I'm a parent to a son, it's my responsibility to make sure that I discourage this as a practice in my son, because tomorrow, in case if he does something like this, more than losing the girl, you're also going to lose your son, because he's going to be in jail, and then you are going to, the whole family will get completely, broken. So as parents of both girl and the father, we should resist it, we should discourage it, and collectively we should take an action to not let that happen ever. because it can go to any extent. So that's one thing, that one message that I want to, really give to the society, because they must understand at times when the girl argues or there's an argument between husband and wife, the boy's parents might think it's all right. She's arguing, so she deserves it. But that's not the way. That's not the way. That's not the way. So both the parents have to, work on it collectively. But for the girl, I would say, I think she has to learn to assert. One, your behavior, your language has to be responsible, because once you are getting married, so you're not getting married to a person. Actually, in Indian custom, I think we are getting married to a family.
Right.
So here I'm not saying that you adjust with everything and you tolerate every inequality or any discrimination against you, but learn to address it in a legitimate way. I mean, arguing, fighting, answering back, because that can act as a trigger and that can aggravate. And at the same time, if something is not acceptable to you, please assert. Please take action, talk to your husband, talk to your in-laws, talk to your parents, involve family rather than involving police or taking law in hand. But at the same time, being independent, being qualified, being educated, but all these things should not make you, okay, I can lead my life and I don't care for husband or my family. That's not the solution. That will not work. That has to be discouraged.
We have to find a balance.
Yes.
Mainly, we don't have to go to extremes of going to the law or, otherwise just taking everything and not standing up.
Yeah.
So I feel that I agree, getting a balance in board, fighting your battles, in a civilized way can actually make a difference.
And especially if the girl's parents get to know about something like this, they should not ignore it. Right in the beginning, if you make it very clear. I have had a case, where the girl called her parents and said कि पापा इसने मुझे गाली दी है ना? And this gentleman goes to the girl's house and brings her back कि हमें अपनी बेटी को वहाँ रखना ही नहीं है जहाँ पे गाली देकर बात करते हैं. So again, see, you can't have a knee-jerk reaction. You can't overreact. So you got to amicably address it, but don't overreact. That's something I want to say to the society.
Right, definitely. Seema,
again, a very helpful advice by you, ma'am, the society and as parents, as individuals, how we should react to something like this. And apart from that, ma'am, so these are some things that are, that are our personal assets, something that from our personal point of view, we can, regulate or change or bring some kind of difference in the family and ourselves. But also, if we talk about, like, do we have organizations in our government that are supporting this cause?
Before we talk about the organization that you want to ask about, I had another point. I think that's very important, a message for the society. I think when we are raising kids, teaching them respect for women is something that we have to practice at home and demonstrate. All the learning happens at home. If I'll see my father raising hand as a man, I would not mind raising hand on my wife. If I see my father raising hand on my mother, for me, being beaten by my husband is something I'll take as a norm. So I think respect for women, and unfortunately, what we have seen, either women are respected as devis or they're treated as, homemaker or a housewife. Both are extremes. Treat her like a human being. Equality. And second thing, I think, is gender sensitization. And gender sensitization for both girl and the boys. Boys should know where to draw a line, what should be the language, what should be the behavior, how should you be treating women, not only at home to your mother or your sister, but I think to start with, yes, at home with your mother and your sister, and then of course, outside with your classmates, with your batchmates, with your colleague. I had a case, where uh, a lady, she contacted me because she was victim of domestic violence. So in one of the
Right.
counseling session, she she made a mention that her husband had a habit of, or a practice of, hitting her brother-in-law as well as his own mother.
Okay.
So imagine if somebody has this, because it becomes a habit, it becomes a way. These behaviors are usually kind of patterns. So
Definitely.
if he could, raise hand on his mother. So this lady said, for me, I thought if he can do this to both of them, then how am I different? So let me tolerate it. So I think gender sensitization and respect for women should be begun right from the beginning when kids are, reared up at home. So as parents, as society, we have a big role to play. And also people should not be mute spectator to the situation. Just
Definitely.
when I posted this message of today's webinar, I received a message from somebody that in my neighborhood there's a lady who is victim of domestic violence, and I really don't know how do I help her. So I did not advise her to call police and let them face it. I said that empower her with the right understanding how to avoid conflicts. I think that is also something we need to learn. There are trigger points for both men and women. So I think as husband and wife, we should both know what is the trigger of my husband or what is the trigger of my wife. So I have to be careful not to press that hot button.
Right. Definitely.
Because, I
Certainly,
mean, if
ma'am.
you're doing it, then you're going to be the victim of the situation. So these are few things I thought I must definitely, share with all of you. Yeah. So you were
Definitely.
asking me a
And
question. Sorry, I interrupted you.
no, ma'am, I think so. This is a very important point that you raised, that how to resolve conflicts is something that we should learn as individuals, as partners, and with family or with your significant other. And as you are a psychologist, you're a life coach, I think so having advice from you, having an insight from you will be very helpful for the viewers. And you can, as you have already given so many helpful points, and I hope like if people need more help, they can contact you with your support and your mental health expertise. So, ma'am, yeah, I think so. One thing that people would like to know, and they've been asking on media, is that taking care of a cause like this? How are society or NGOs helping and supporting on something like
And
domestic
there are a lot
violence?
of
So I just
NGOs. Yeah, there are a lot of NGOs, and there is a women helpline number also available. 10, I think,
right,
91 and 1096. These are two women helpline number. I think every woman should have it in her phone. Even I have it. You should all have it in
sure,
your phone, and they are very helpful. I have had one or two chances where like somebody was harassing me on phone or was misbehaving. So I
right,
just called on this women helpline number, and they took up appropriate action to stop that person. So it's not just the family would be doing it. Of course, chances of being abused at home are more, but I think women helpline number every woman should have with them. Then I think there's a national commission for women. You can email your this thing. But I think ultimately we have to learn to resolve it at our personal level. और कभी
right,
कभी मुझे लगता है कि थोड़ा सा
definitely.
फिजिकली भी स्ट्रांग होना जरूरी है कि अगर सामने वाले ने हाथ उठाया है तो मैं उसको थप्पड़ चाहे
Yes,
नहीं मारूं, पर मेरे हाथ में इतनी ताकत तो हो कि मैं उसका हाथ पकड़ सकूं कि भाई हाथ मत लगाना,
right,
बाकी सब चलेगा, you can't hit me like this. I think this is more than physical power. You require mental strength to refuse to take unacceptable behavior, and that I think every woman should you know uh,
yes,
assert this. I physical abuse is something that I would never endorse, because you can't take nonsense. You can't take, you are an equal human being, so you have to,
definitely.
yeah.
So I think so. uh, talking with you has literally given us some examples of what is actually happening in the society there. हम अभी तक तो सुनते आ रहे थे कि डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस बढ़ गया है, बट आपने जिस तरीके से बताया क्या रीजंस हैं एंड कैसे कैसे केसेस होते हैं, this is, I hope, whoever is watching this found it helpful for themselves. And again, जो personal characteristics है जहाँ पे हम लोग अपने आप को support कर सकते हैं, those are also very helpful. And having your support, having support from NGOs. Then we also have MHP directory, जहाँ पे you can consult professionals, mental health professionals for issues like this. So I hope people who are going from certain problems like this, they take action, they support themselves either through someone's help. I think the professional help is going to be very helpful. And it's not professionally, then topics like this, webinars like this, I hope they support and inform the right knowledge to victims and people around them. So from keeping that on note, I think so this is something that we wanted to discuss, and we have a lot of questions coming, and we can start the question and answer round if that is okay with you.
Sure, I think we are left with 20 more minutes, so we can quickly take as many questions as possible. Yeah,
definitely.
So, ma'am, our Facebook page has one question that says, Ms. Zara, she's asking, have you ever experienced couples that want to be together and work through despite of having domestic abuse?
Definitely. I think in most of the cases, they want to work on the marriage, but they don't know how to go about. The usual block is both the parties think that the other person should change.
Right.
Whereas the need is that both of them need to work on themselves and then on their relationship. That can help them change, their relationship with each other and make things better.
Right. So, there are questions on YouTube.
Oh. Yeah, so ma'am, we are getting one question from YouTube ki, the verbal harassment kaisa, they want to know something about verbal harassment. So this is Renar who's asking about verbal harassment. So if you can,
I think I would make a request to both of you. It will be good if you don't call their name, just because I don't want them to be.
Okay.
Let's not call their name. Let's just, a question is important.
Okay.
So see, verbal abuse is actually very, very common. It's far more common than the physical abuse. Nagging, finding fault, discouraging, demotivating, always saying that you are good for nothing. I remember a case, oh my goodness. This case was brought to me, the husband came to me saying that my wife is mentally retarded.
Okay.
Like, how do you know? Because mental retardation is something that we diagnose after we have done the assessment of intelligence quotient. So then we get to kind of, decide whether he said, no, she can't do anything. She can't manage things. She is mentally retarded and she needs help. And when I went into the detail, I checked about her routine, what all responsibility is she looking after, how is she managing her home. On most of the front, she was doing it excellent. Only thing was maybe she was not street smart. And the husband was very, very smart, very, I don't want to use word clever, but very smart, I can say. So maybe when he compared himself with his wife, he found the wife to be little, not that street smart. And he comes and says she is mentally retarded. Now imagine if you tell this to anybody that you are mentally retarded and you are saying this to your wife, and what worse you could do to your listener. So she had completely lost confidence in herself. She was very, very doubtful of her actions. Decision making was a very big issue with her. She said, I've lost confidence because any decision I make, I get to hear, ye kya kiya tune? Ye tujhe aata hi nahi hai, ye tujhe pata hi nahi hai, tujhe kisne. So when you're always, talking negative to a person, that person's self-confidence is bound to go down. Another case I recently came across was again, more than physical abuse, it was, psychological and emotional abuse. Again, the husband would use all kind of ways to discourage and demotivate and devalue her. So this is nothing but, emotional abuse and psychological abuse.
Right. Definitely.
I think all of these issues can have such long lasting psychological impacts on people, especially also on the abuser himself and also on women who are getting abused. It's a vicious cycle.
अच्छा राजिका, आपने बोला एक पॉइंट जो बोला, एंड आई वांट टू ऐड टू इट. मैं हमेशा क्या कहती हूँ, अगर आपके साथ किसी ने गलत किया है तो ये उसकी गलती है, लेकिन अगर आपने उसको एड्रेस नहीं करा है, अगर आपने उसको हैंडल नहीं करा है, तो ये आपकी भी गलती है. So you have to take responsibility of not taking any corrective action. So it's very important to know that you have full right to speak for yourself. Your safety, your existence is your responsibility.
Definitely.
So don't let anybody abuse it.
Okay.
Definitely. I think all of us have to stand up for our own selves.
Yes.
There's no other way out.
Yeah. But again, standing up does not mean being aggressive or assaultive. I want to, this thing clarify, because usually we think stand up means झंडा लेके खड़े हो जाओ और झगड़ा शुरू कर दो, and then you get into legal battle. No, standing up itself could be you raise the issue and you say, sorry, I will not take it. That's all.
Right.
Ma'am, we have an interesting question here. This person is asking, what about abuse against men? Does that happen? Is it prevalent? What is the male perspective on this?
Oh, yes. There's a lot of abuse of men also. I wish I had these statistics. I could have shared these statistics with you. But I'm sure in relationships we have seen men being abused. Again, the role has changed, but responsibility still remains same with both the partners. The person who is doing need to know I'm harming myself because I'm harming my own marriage, and the person who is the victim of it should assert and stand for himself or herself. अभी मैं पीछे बहुत साल पहले छोटे छोटे प्लैकार्ड्स लगे होते हैं, उस पर लिखा हुआ था, पत्नी सताए तो हमें बताएं. So I'm sure there are organizations who are helping to, helping men, but definitely that needs to be addressed. No kind of abusive relationship is acceptable, be it men or women.
I think with men also it might be because the statistics would be very skewed. I hardly think that, men would, because I think unka thoda male psyche is also a little on the dominant side. They wouldn't rather want to come out and say that, I'm getting abused at home. Yeah. There was this very famous case that happened on Big Boss House in the last season, where the woman was hitting one man with a pan or something like that on screen in front of so many cameras. And that sparked a huge debate of, how men also have to face physical as well as mental and emotional abuse. So definitely, I think.
Considering the percentage, I think बहुत कम होगा.
Right.
बहुत कम होगा.
Right. Then we can move forward to another question where the viewer wants to know कि अगर हम legally report नहीं करते हैं about domestic violence, can the consequences be severe? Will it lead to worse repercussions? What to do in that case?
See, अगर कोई रास्ता नहीं है, तो I think legal action is the only option. At least a women cell should be involved. और वुमेन सेल का भी ये देखा है, rather than being punitive कि पकड़ के ले गए, जेल में डाल दिया, मारा, उसकी बजाय अगर वो उसको caution कर देते, even that kind of discourages the person. Because once a police coming to your house, I mean, people around you, neighbors around you, seeing you getting involved into it, and you also know in case if I don't check myself, then I may get involved into a legal case. And there is a law also, anti-domestic violence law. But how many people really know? So I think that has to be again kind of, brought to the knowledge of society that there is a law that exists and we need to know that we can, get entrapped into it. But I think these actions would definitely discourage the person. But the family also has the responsibility of, managing it, addressing it in a serious manner, and not let it be, ठीक है, it's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay.
Definitely, it's not okay. And I think any form of abuse is not okay, regardless of the person who's facing it or doing it.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. We have this in another question here that says, I did accidentally hit someone. Is that domestic violence? I feel guilty.
See, more than we thinking about whether it is domestic violence or not, first of all, take responsibility that you hit somebody. See, men sometimes they say, इसने मुझे जवाब ही ऐसे दिया, मुझे इसने बात ही ऐसी बोली, ये बहुत जवाब देती है, ये बहुत झगड़ा करती है. So that does not mean that you can hit the person. अगर ये बात आपके बॉस के साथ हो और वो आपके साथ झगड़ा करे और वो आपको कुछ बुरा बोल दे, क्या आप अपने बॉस पर हाथ उठाएंगे? No, because you know there you cannot do. So mind is very smart. We know where we can show tantrums and where we cannot. So that is one thing. More than that, in case if this person is admitting that yes, I had hit somebody, and is it domestic violence? It is violence. No doubt it is violence. Work on yourself, work on your anger. I think this is the message I want to give to men folk. Please work on your anger. Anger can be managed. You can learn the ways of handling your anger. Aggression can be managed. There are good, legitimate ways of expressing anger. Right way of communication also helps you curb your anger and aggression. If you know the right way of communicating. For example, if you are not liking somebody's behavior, you got to tell that person in a firm tone, sorry, this is not acceptable. Like I'm saying, the woman should say, even the men should say, or move away from that place for a while, because you know you might get into an anger fit and can hit somebody. So physically move away from that place, but don't leave it. Address it after cooling down. Come back to the same person, talk to that person, address that issue. So I think people, and a lot of men have anger issues. Lot of men have anger issues, and incidentally, no, we don't teach them how to manage anger. That's something they must learn.
So that's how you can summarize how it should follow the direction. Ma'am, I am also one of your viewer in this webinar. I have one personal question, if you don't mind me asking.
Sure.
So we have women are again, there are women that will be getting married soon, and one of our hosts, Radhika, is also one of them. She's also getting married soon. So for people like us who are stepping into this big journey of our life, what would be your advice for something regarding domestic violence or relationship advice? How would you like to what message you would like to give us?
I think in domestic violence, mostly the issue of aggression or fight or conflict between the husband and wife is about their roles and responsibilities. So somewhere I think both girls and boys should know that marriage is not a bed of roses. So this is a message for Rajika as well as for Seema and for all the girls who are getting married and the boys. Marriage is not bed of roses. Incidentally, we make so many preparations in terms of buying clothes, jewelry, makeup, place of function and everything, but we do not mentally prepare our children for such a big responsibility. Once you get married, there will be a lot of expectations from you being a husband or being a wife. You are responsible for each other. Lot of adjustments have to be done by both girl and boy. They both need to now think like we rather than thinking me and you. So a lot of things you'll have to sacrifice for each other, for the larger interest, for the well-being of both of you. So that has to be the approach. And I think somewhere premarital counseling is something that we really, really need to bring in, especially in Indian culture, especially for Indian culture. I'm saying this, and counseling not only for the girl and the boy, but even both the families should know what is their role in making this marriage successful. No marriage can become successful without participation and contribution from both the families. The girl and the boy may be qualified, professionally very well settled, maybe even earning very well. But when it comes to the experience of life, they are still naive. They just go by impulses and instant gratification and the ego that we normally have. Oh, I am educated, I am professionally qualified. As I am respected at my workplace, so should I be respected at home. I remember Indra Nui was in an interview, she said that when I came home after my appointment as a CEO of PepsiCo, and I came with the appointment letter, I came home and my mother said, it's all right, you're going to become CEO of PepsiCo, but when you're coming home, remember that you are not CEO of PepsiCo, but you are a mother, a wife, or a daughter, and you have some responsibilities. And then she said, she sent me immediately to go to the store and get milk or some household thing. And she said, I went to buy that. So what I'm trying to say, this is how I think we need to groom our daughters and sons to come forward and take responsibility. Even for boys, I would say a very strong message, because see, what we are talking about, the physical violence or the aggression or the conflict, the roots of all this is in their adjustment and the conflict and the reasons they have in the conflict. So there, even the boys have to be kind of groomed. There was a time the division of labor was very clear. The men would go out and earn. Women would sit at home and look after the household responsibilities. But incidentally, now girls are being educated, they are professionally qualified, they are working, they are earning as good as the boys. So now in this situation, if you expect a woman to manage both the things, घर का काम भी और बाहर की responsibility भी, that's practically not possible. So I think that way I really appreciate the Western culture, where both husband and wife come forward and take responsibility of household chores. They divide between them happily. So there again, I think the role of the parents is, let's groom our kids, girls and boys, to share responsibility. So if we can work on this, I'm sure society will be in a better place in the time to come. I hope so. At least this reason for conflict can be prevented if we are able to prepare them for marriage as a responsibility.
Right. I think there are so many preparation needs that we need, right? Anger management, how to live, how to balance your work life. So, ma'am, I think we're running short on time. We'll just ask one last question and then we'll end the session, even though there are so many pending questions. Sure. So, one question says is that it says about the movie industry and the media presence of the whole issue. So, there's a movie called Thappad that had come out. And the question here says that, what about the movie Thappad? Do you think it adequately showed the issue? And was it able to tackle it well? So what are your views on it?
See, there can be divided views on it. Somebody might think एक थप्पड़ ही तो था, है ना? बहुत सारे लोगों ने उसको कहा भी यही कि एक थप्पड़ ही तो था, इतनी बड़ी क्या बात है. Incidentally, I had not seen Thappad. I saw it just 2 days ago, so I know the movie. अगर एक हफ्ता पहले आपने मुझे पूछा था तो मुझे नहीं पता था कि थप्पड़ में क्या हुआ था, but I have seen the movie. And I'm sure, I mean, a lot of people asked her कि इतनी सी बात एक थप्पड़ से क्या हो गया. I think that थप्पड़ kind of awakened her. It kind of made her realize that what is her position in this marriage. She got to realize that she has no position in the marriage. It's not about role. It's about position.
Okay.
So such movies, I think, are basically to trigger our thought process and help us know what we can expect in the time to come. See, usually what is shown in the movie is one, what is picked from the society, and also it shows what is the society going to be like in the time to come. So probably that is the purpose why even for everybody it was probably a small issue, but for her it was a great realization that I have no position, and she handled it very well. I would appreciate the way she handled it. Whoever the director of the movie was or the writer of the movie was, she didn't fight with people. She just asserted. I think this is what is required. It's not about fighting. We don't want to create more chaos. Already there is so much of chaos in life. But if you learn to assert, I think people get to realize where to draw the line, and everybody learns to behave. That is, I think, in that way, she really handled well. She didn't fight with her in-laws, though she said that you never, cared for me. You cared for your son's wife. I mean, I remember the dialogue she said to her mother-in-law, because her mother-in-law never stood for her. Her even own mother, she did not stand for her. It was her father who said that it's her call. And he made her realize that life will not be easy if you decide to get separated from him, or if you go for divorce. Your financial standing also would be zero. And especially if you're not asking for any compensation. And if, in spite of all that, if he took this call, I think that's how everybody has a right to take a call.
Again, movies like this definitely empowers a lot of women who are going through something like this. It was definitely relatable, and as you said, the approach that movie took in terms of assertiveness rather than going very ugly with the situation that sometimes happens in family. There's fighting, there's beating, there are throwing of things, and getting abusive and more like that. So I think so. The movie, as you said, took a good direction, and definitely for women who are married, it definitely gave them a voice. It was a thought awakening moment for a lot of women, I hope.
इसमें एक चीज और बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है जो हमने बिल्कुल नहीं टच करी, वो है रोल ऑफ काउंसलिंग. Role of counseling, that plays a very big role. I have had number of cases in the last month, and with just 3 or 4 sessions, both of them get to realize that they need to save their marriage. My first question to all of them is always, do you want to save your marriage? And the moment I ask them, it kind of, throws a big question to them, that in case if you don't work towards, improving your relationship, your marriage is at stake. So, and within couple of these things, they are able to, find a common ground where they need to work on themselves. So couple counseling plays a very big role. And also, just to share, because this issue has come here, we are developing a wonderful program on marriage counseling. It's couple counseling program, where we are trying to not only address all the issues related to couple counseling, but also we are trying to come up with the intervention strategies suitable for the Indian society. Because till now we didn't have any marriage counselors program, and most of the techniques and tools we are using it from the Western world. So we collectively, around 20 of us have come together, and all Indian psychologists who are working in the Indian society, we have come together, and for the last 6 months, we are developing a couple therapy program designed specifically for the Indian society. So we have named it Together We Can Make It. The name of the program is Together We Can Make It. So very soon we will be actually announcing programs for the counselors to undertake that program and become certified counselors with us. And also we as counselors will be empowered to deal with the couples in a more professional way. So I just thought that I must bring it to the knowledge of the society.
Definitely. I think Seema and I at least will be the first ones to sign up for it.
Wonderful. Excellent.
Yes, yeah, keeping that on note, I think so we should talk more about your program on marriage counseling. This is something that the generation in India, especially millennials and people who are going to be married, would take a lot of help from. So we whenever you think that there is a message you can
the idea of having a couple therapy program for Indian, this thing, it came to me. I had a couple for counseling from New Zealand. So this man kept talking to me, over phone for counseling session. So I suggested that you both should be attending a, counseling session. So you must take your wife to the counselor there only, in case if she's not comfortable coming and talking to me over the phone. So he said, okay, let me check who is the counselor available. So he looked for a marriage counselor, and he went to the counselor once to meet him and, ask for his wife to be brought in. So the counselor heard his story completely, and at the end he said, why are you in this marriage? The marriage is already on the rocks. So that is the difference of approach in saving the marriage that we have in Indian context and the philosophy of marriage in Western context. So therefore we developed this program, that we must have a program to suit our Indian society, because the job of a counselor is to help the couple save their marriage and move forward.
Right.
Definitely.
It's a very helpful approach that you and your organization is taking, because actually Western approaches doesn't really help here.
Yeah.
We need to start bringing our own cultural connotations into therapy and working on the client at the same time. So I think so this is going to be an amazing news in the world of marriage counseling, and I wish we can be also a part of this.
Definitely, definitely.
Ma'am, one quick question I think I have, because it's come out a lot in our questions, and then we can end the session. So one question here is that it's coming from the children's point of view. There's one question that says that what effect can domestic abuse have on children? The other one is, I think, from somebody who's asked that what do I do, how to help my parents when my mother is facing domestic abuse? And I think these are such hard-hitting questions that, you're just like flabbergasted for like 2 minutes. How do you respond to such a child? What do you say?
See, the first one is, yes, there is increase in the violence against children also. Because again, you are locked down, and you have parents at home, elderlies at home. So then if you're a child and if you are not physically able to save yourself, there's a possibility that there'll be violence. Even abuse has gone up, against children. Again, showing that the person who is the perpetrator of abuse is within the family, within the house. So the other members of the family should not overlook it. Should not overlook it. I had a case where it was the father who was abusing the daughter, and the mother went to police reporting this abuse. And I think there is nothing wrong in it. There's nothing wrong in it. If something like this happens, then the person has to receive the consequences of what his action. But yes, I think it's a very sad situation. Again, other family members should come forward to protect the child. Second is, if as a child, if you think you are the mute spectator to this thing, then I think yes, I understand. If you are too young a child, probably you will not be able to do anything. But later on, maybe you can, if you can talk to your father and to your mother and help them see, or involve some elderlies at home to handle the situation. But of course, immediately, I think it's a very sad situation to know that they become witness to all these things.
Definitely.
It really affects their psyche. It really affects their psyche. That's true.
Anybody who's involved in this whole debacle, be it the abuser or the abusee or the family members, everybody, I think, gets some impacts of psychological issues that comes out.
Children, actually, in the impressionable age, they are more likely to be affected. It does
Traumatic for them.
Yeah, it does more damage to them.
Right.
So I think so we can conclude this session. I am so thankful to you, ma'am, and thank you for discussing about domestic violence and mental health. This is an issue that needs to be addressed and acknowledged, and therefore a progressive change need to be bring out. And the techniques you talked about in this webinar were definitely very helpful from a societal point of view, individual point of view, family's point of view, and amazing notes that you have shared on. And I hope viewers who are facing this problem or want to know more about it found this webinar helpful. And all the best for the marriage counseling program. We are looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Yes. I'm looking forward to having you back on different topics and different webinars.
Yes. Definitely. Anytime.
Thank you for your time, ma'am. Again, it was amazing having you here. It was a beautiful experience. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye.